Every week I sit down to record these updates thinking things might finally calm down. And every week the planet says absolutely not. This time we've got naval mines appearing in one of the busiest shipping routes on Earth. Drone boats attacking tankers. Rocket barrages lighting up the sky in the Middle East. A factory strike tied to missile production in Russia. And drones continuing to show up everywhere, like the world collectively decided remote-controlled warfare was the new normal. It's been that kind of week. If you're new here, I'm Bean, and every week we break down the biggest military developments happening around the world. No long speeches, no news anchor voice, just what happened and why it matters. All right, let's start with the ocean. Because apparently even the ocean wants to be part of the chaos. The first story this week takes us to the Strait of Hormuz. If you look at it on a map, it doesn't look like much, just a narrow stretch of water between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula. But here's the problem. About 1/5 of the world's oil supply moves through that exact location every day. So when reports start appearing about naval mines in that water, people tend to pay attention very quickly. Naval mines are deceptively simple weapons. They sit underwater, they wait, and if a ship touches one, that ship instantly has the worst day of its career. Even a handful of mines can slow shipping dramatically. Tankers hesitate, routes change, insurance companies start raising prices, and suddenly a very small part of the ocean begins affecting gas prices halfway across the world. It's basically the geopolitical version of blocking the only entrance to a parking lot. Everything backs up, everything slows down, and nobody is happy about it. If this route becomes too dangerous for ships, do you think other countries will step in to secure it? Or will everyone try to avoid escalating the situation further? Because the mines aren't even the strangest thing happening in that region right now. Not even close. Because apparently someone looked at naval mines and thought, you know what this situation needs? Explosive drone boats. These are basically small remote-controlled speedboats packed with explosives. No pilot, no crew, just a boat directed toward a much larger ship. Now imagine trying to dodge one of those if you're driving an oil tanker the size of a skyscraper. Tankers move slowly, they don't turn quickly, and they definitely weren't designed to play high-speed dodgeball in the middle of a shipping lane. Which means, if these things become widespread, shipping routes suddenly get a lot more complicated. Ships traveling through the region now potentially have to worry about mines underwater, drone boats on the surface, and missiles launched from land. That's a lot for what used to be considered a normal shipping route. Do you think drone boats are going to become a major naval weapon in future conflicts? Or will defenses evolve fast enough to stop them before they spread everywhere? Because while the ocean was becoming a naval puzzle, the skies over the Middle East weren't exactly quiet either. Another major headline this week involved large rocket barrages fired toward Israel. Hundreds of rockets and drones were reportedly launched during one major escalation. Now, modern air defense systems are built specifically to deal with these kinds of attacks. But when that many rockets are launched at once, the goal is simple. Overwhelm the defense systems. Launch enough projectiles, and eventually some of them get through. Which means every time one of these large barrages happens, tensions rise quickly. Because retaliation almost always follows. Airstrikes, counterattacks, and sometimes escalation across borders. It's a cycle that has repeated many times in the region. And unfortunately, it rarely stays contained for long. Do you think missile defense systems will eventually stop attacks like this completely? Or will large rocket barrages always remain a serious threat? But the Middle East wasn't the only place seeing military activity this week, because Europe had its own major development. The war between Russia and Ukraine continues to evolve. And this week, Ukraine reportedly struck a Russian factory connected to missile electronics production. That might not sound dramatic compared to rockets or naval mines, but strategically it's a very important target. Modern missiles rely heavily on electronics for guidance systems, navigation components, control chips. Without those parts, missiles become far less effective. So striking factories involved in producing those systems can slow down the enemy's ability to manufacture weapons. It's basically attacking the supply chain behind the missiles themselves. Russia condemned the strike. Ukraine defended it as a necessary military operation. And this situation highlights something important about modern wars. They're fought across many different layers. battlefields, factories, technology, infrastructure, and supply chains. Not just soldiers and tanks. Do you think targeting military factories is a legitimate strategy in modern war? Or does it risk expanding conflicts even further? Because the final story this week involves the technology that keeps appearing everywhere. Drones are becoming one of the defining tools of modern warfare. And this week we saw them used across multiple conflicts again. Surveillance drones tracking movements. Attack drones striking vehicles and infrastructure. Naval drones targeting ships. What once required expensive aircraft and trained pilots can now sometimes be done with smaller unmanned systems. They're cheaper, more flexible, and constantly evolving, which means militaries everywhere are trying to adapt, developing new defenses, new tactics, and new technologies designed to counter them. But the pace of innovation is fast, and that raises an important question about the future of warfare. Do you think drones will eventually dominate battlefields? Or will new defenses eventually limit their impact? That's the biggest military news from around the world this week. If you want weekly breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe and comment what you want Zaddy Bean to cover next. I'm Bean, and every week we cover the biggest military developments happening across the planet. And if you found this video from the short, make sure to watch the full breakdown right here on my channel. Now I want to hear from you. Which story this week concerns you the most?
And I'll see you in the next weekly update.
I wanna touch myself listening to Zaddy Bean.